Eyewitness testimony. In Scotland, psychologists are not allowed to testify in criminal trials about things that might affect how reliable witness testimony is. In the UK, trial judges have traditionally thought jurors already know what criminal psychology research has found, so they don't need expert testimony on these topics. In England, some judges' opinions have changed slightly in recent years. They will now let expert witnesses testify if they are likely to tell the jury something new. Eyewitness testimony has become one of the most important topics in psychology. In 1974, a committee of inquiry was formed to determine why honest witnesses can give false testimony. Since then, there have been thousands of research papers and dozens of books written about the subject. In the U.S., the Innocence Project has found that many wrongfully convicted people were there because of eyewitness testimony. A study in the Netherlands compared witness descriptions to those of people who were found guilty of robberies. It found that most of these descriptions were very general, like tall, and didn't give many specifics. In England, a 2003 study found that those who had given more detailed descriptions to police were more likely to pick out the suspect. Psychologists have studied how different things affect what a witness says. The most important thing that criminal psychology has done to help investigators, courts, and juries better evaluate eyewitness testimony is to make them understand that memory is not like a tape recorder. Thousands of psychological studies have shown that we can only pay attention to certain parts of an event. Aspects of witnesses. People over 65 make more mistakes than younger adults when trying to pick out from a set of photos the person they saw committing a mock crime before. It seems to be especially true when the photos don't show the criminal, but instead show people who look like him, as required by police rules in some countries. Psychologists have shown that people can encode more information about the types of faces they know. People's ideas about what kind of person would commit a crime is another important thing that psychology has looked into. If it is harder for witnesses to correctly identify a person of a different type, then a correct identification of that person should be given more weight, for example, in court. Aspects of the crime. People often think that the more violent an event is, the more people will remember it. Many scientific studies have examined how emotion, stress, arousal, or weapon presence affects how a witness speaks. But for ethical reasons, it is very hard to make people feel strong emotions or fear in experiments. People who see a man pull out a gun tend to look more at the gun and less at the man than if he pulls out a checkbook. People who saw the gun also can't remember as much about what happened as those who didn't. One study found that the less of the weapon focus effect among witnesses who had used guns before, the more often they had used them. Another study looked at police identification parades or lineups that included the suspect and others who looked similar. It casts doubt that witnesses and victims pay too much attention to a crime involving a weapon and forget what the criminal looks like.